Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get wiggly because you're back here with me, Tony Mo, for another episode of The Weekly. Now, this week, we actually have an episode full of announcements and discussion, plans for the future of The Weekly, if you will. So we're not going to be doing our regularly scheduled programming. So if you were looking for news this week, feel free to walk away. But if you want to know more about the future of what I'm doing with this show and how you can be involved in the content that you see on this show each and every week, then stick around. I've always wanted to do something bigger with this. In fact, I talked a little bit about this show in a vlog months ago, probably 6 or 7 months ago. And I got to the point where I was obsessing and planning so much of it and realizing that I didn't have the means to do exactly what I wanted to do, that I said, screw it, and I just went for it. And I made up a really rough format and started doing the show, started talking about news, and in the background, started thinking of ways in which I can involve the show into more of an actual video game talk show format, something that could potentially air on Twitch occasionally as a live show even, something that could feel bigger and better and cooler, something that people would want to show up and watch every single week, something that could be a really powerful platform to talk about video games and to share those experiences with others. So to start doing that, I like to think of ways in which I can get you guys involved to basically create entire segments around viewer submitted content. You know, I can pick all of the discussion topics that I could ever want to pick, but there's something special, I know this as a viewer of other people's channels, in knowing that the community is getting involved in the things that we talk about on the show. So to start next week, we'll be launching a segment that will air right after the This Week in News segment, where we take on one viewer submitted topic. In order to submit that topic, all you have to do is post a separate comment. So if you make a comment about something else in the show, make this a separate comment. I want you to start with the name you'd like to see me feature if your topic gets selected on the show, and then the topic of discussion itself. Try and keep them sort of one question topics, if you will. I know a lot of you guys can fit like 16 questions into one question, and I feel compelled to answer it. So do me a huge favor and don't put me in that position because I tend to ramble as is. At that point, there's probably going to be a decent amount of these. The show has been doing better than I ever expected it to do, which is why I'm really looking forward to going forward with it and making it bigger and better. I'm just going to pick the one that I think clicks, and if there's like some stuff going on in the news for that week that relates to that topic by chance, maybe I'll pick it then. And you know, it'll be a pretty big part of the show where we really sit down and talk about that. It could be anything, by the way. It could be the past, the present, the future. It could be video game, film related, you know, whatever's been sort of knocking around in the back of your head, or perhaps it's something you've always wanted to hear me talk about as a longtime viewer of the channel as a whole. That's the place to submit it, and you can go ahead and do it on this week's video, because next week I want to get the ball rolling on that segment. Now, the next thing I want to do is start featuring people who make cool fucking art, man. It's as simple as that. I love art. To me, it is an exceptionally powerful medium. There's something so spectacular about something as simple as a piece of concept art. You know, just a few rough lines even can often share more atmosphere, more emotion, and tell a bigger story than the video games that concept art related to ever could. Art is really special to me for that reason. There's just something so stunning about a 2D piece of medium, like when we talk about drawings and paintings, just on a flat piece of paper, that somehow can give me so much nostalgia, so much warmth, so much emotion. Something that games struggle to do, art seems to be able to do tenfold, especially when it's really well done. And I'm not saying like, oh, well, there's great art, bad art. I mean, just sometimes a piece just clicks with you. And that is the other killer thing about art. There is no right or wrong way for any of the art I've ever seen, in my opinion. Certain art just clicks with certain individuals, and that's what makes it so freaking special. So even though the show is in its early days, and we get maybe around 2,000 views when it's all said and done, I'd love to start featuring artists through the thumbnail and also right here through an opening segment on the weekly. So if you want to get involved in this, if you're an artist, if you know someone who's an artist, you've been creating for, you know, a year, 2 years, whatever your story is, it doesn't matter what kind of art you create, all you have to do is hit me up over on Twitter. I want you guys to reach out to me on this, at TonyMo Gaming. You can DM me, you can simply at me. Tell me a little bit about yourself, you know, send me a link to your artwork, say, hey, Tony, you know, I heard about what you want to do for the show. Here's some of the artwork that I work on. Here's a little portfolio I put together. I've been doing drawing for 2 years. I've been doing oil painting for a year, for 6 months. It doesn't matter, man. Even if you've been doing it for 3 months, if you feel proud of something you've created, I want to know about it. I want you to share it with me. And if we can get together on that and you can go ahead and send me a piece that you'd like to have featured as a thumbnail, that's exactly what I want to do. And, you know, if this is something that you're looking to take to higher places, you've been creating art for 4 years, trying to get your stuff out there, and you've got a Patreon set up and you've got a website set up, hell yeah, I want to know about that stuff, and we'll talk about it. We'll feature it on the show. That's the plan. I'd love to see this show a year from now be a big thing where I can help change people's lives, because I know I've always been in that position, and I've always been working hard and hoping that maybe one day someone will come around and share my stuff to just the right group of people, you know, to really help my stuff get exposure. And when it comes to creating art, I know that it's even more difficult as an artist to get your stuff out there. You know, I play video games. I talk about video games on YouTube, people who stream games on Twitch. Yeah, these platforms are saturated, but these are really highly consumed pieces of media. And I'm not saying art isn't consumed, but we all know that it's not consumed at the same level as video games, television, film, and music. You know, these are things that have become integral to our daily routines in life. So I understand the difficulty of getting yourself out there as an artist. And this is exactly why I want to do that segment for the show. Right at the opening, you know, highlight it. Here's the thumbnail for the week. Check out this dope piece of art by so-and-so. If you want to know more about their work, if you want to see more of their work, if you want to support their work potentially, maybe buy some of their work, here's all the resources you need. Go see what they're doing, because they're doing kick-ass stuff. So those are the two big segments I've got planned right now. We're still going to be doing, obviously, Around the Bend this week and, you know, Back to the Past. I'm pretty happy with this going forward. You know, you can't get crazy and start to just add like 50 million segments. I want segments that have value. And again, I wanted to have a couple segments where you guys as the viewer get involved. It's something I've always done whenever possible on this channel. Did it with the community challenge for Titanfall 2 for a long time. I did it for, we did fan art highlights for The Division when I was doing a Division show. So this is sort of the next step for me for this show, for that sort of thing. I look forward to hopefully having this all come together next week. Again, hit me up over on Twitter. Post your topics for discussion down in the comment section below, and let's hope that next week's episode of the Weekly can be the biggest and best episode yet. There is one last thing I wanted to talk about. I didn't want to do this at the start. I would love to get this show to a point where it does not need YouTube ad revenue to exist, where we can disable monetization entirely on this and have it be funded via Patreon. This would be sort of my one purely funded by Patreon show. The idea that we can remove all of the restrictions of the monetization requirements from YouTube. So I can actually have a 30-second clip of Super Mario Odyssey, because I don't care if YouTube claims it, because we're not making money off of YouTube for this show. We're making money through Patreon. So the information to my Patreon is located right down in the pinned comment below, as well as in the description. I fully understand if you don't think the show is worth it right now, but hopefully as the show gets bigger and better and we get just more nuanced with everything and the setup and the editing value of the whole show changes, maybe it will become worthwhile to you, and that link will always be there. I also want to give a huge shout out to the now 17 patrons that have been supporting my channel for months, some of you guys for years now. Thank you so much, really, especially with the way things are going on YouTube right now. That additional support monetarily and just knowing that you guys are there, like, yeah, I like what this dude does enough to throw money at him, that's been really helpful, mentally and financially. So thank you so much for that. And again, if you guys want to get involved on the Patreon, all the stuff you need is located down in the pinned comment or in the description below. Let's see where we can take this show. I'm excited about it, and hopefully you are too. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a killer weekend. Feel free to let me know outside of some of those topics for discussion what you plan on playing over the weekend, who you plan on playing it with, and I will see you in the next one.